What is going on? What is going on? What is going on, party people? It is your boy, Coach D Brown, former big leaguer, former first round pick with the Kansas City Royals. And man, we are nice, beautiful day, man. At least I know in my parts. I don't know what is going on up there, your way up there, Coach. But um, listen, man, we are joined, man. We're going back to the Big Ten. We were down south in the dirty yesterday. I have in North Alabama. We're taking it back up north again to my old stomping grounds. That's right, Russ. New Jersey is in the house, right? So we're going to New Jersey, New Jerusalem. All right, we got Rutgers head coach on Steve Owens on with us today, man. Being blessed, man, with some Power Five love, man. So, Coach, man, we've been in the background talking a little bit, man. So, what's going on, man? How's life treating you, man, with this virus and everything going on here, man?
Well, I think it's miserable for everyone, but we can't control what's going on, right? So we're just, the first month that we were shut down was like really didn't know what to do yet, kind of numb to it, and now what? We're in 4 or 5 months, so we've done some heavy duty recruiting and some staff development and mixed a few beach days in there in the mornings and try to stay sane and got the whole family home. So everyone's in the same boat, and we're going through meetings and things are changing constantly, and we know kids are playing, we're watching them on TVs and web screens, and it's crazy, but we're kind of getting excited now to hopefully get our kids back on campus and be able to coach them again. And that's what we do, and that's what we like to do.
Man, no doubt about it, man. So I'm gonna get into a little bit of the new age recruiting and stuff that you've had to do, in this time. But I want to go back, man. I have all my guests when they come on, man. I want to learn more about the man and his journey to where he is right now at Rutgers. So, Coach Steve, if you could, man, take me back to the beginning, man. Where you from, playing career to your coaching career to where you are right now as the head coach at Rutgers.
How much time we got?
It's funny. All you guys say the same thing, man. That's okay, man. Go ahead, tell the story, man.
I mean, I'm not 25 anymore, D. So listen. I was born in Utica, New York.
Nice.
So I'm an upstate New Yorker, and by upstate, that's not Westchester. That's like up, Syracuse area. So
yeah, played there, played in Utica. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So I played a bunch of sports in high school, and then I went to a Division III school, St. Lawrence University, because I was able to play both baseball and football there.
Nice.
Which I loved it because I like playing both.
Nice.
I graduated. I had a job lined up to go teach and coach, and I got drafted by the Cubs. Actually, a scout from New York City, Billy Blitzer, drafted me with the Chicago Cubs, and I played a few seasons of minor league baseball, which was wonderful. It was like it's obviously something I worked for my whole life, and I never made it out of A ball. I wasn't good enough, but I learned a lot, and I loved every day of it. And when I got released, I went back and I coached football and baseball at Ithaca College under a legendary football coach named Jim Butterfield and a baseball coach named George Valcenti. They were very good, and I got my master's degree there. And I was married, so I was married pretty young. And when I finished in a year, I was going to go work at Cornell University with Tom Ford as an assistant baseball coach because I was living right in Ithaca. And I got the Cortland. Cortland is a state university in New York, and that's a Division III school. The job opened up there. Somebody left, and I went up for an interview, and I got the job that day. So
nice.
I became a head coach at like 24 years old.
Good for you. Wow.
So I had, that was kind of how I got started. And we built a really good program there. I think, maybe 4 or 5 times in the last 4 or 5 of the last, years that I was there, we went to the College World Series for Division III.
Nice.
We had a lot of great players. I had, tremendous people working with me and helping me. And we built a program very quickly and then we built a program that went to the national tournament every year, and so it was great. We were actually getting players drafted, and quite high in some cases. We had some very high draft choices, and then I took a job at Lemoyne College in Syracuse, New York, which was a Division I school. Like Tom Browning and Jim DeShays, a couple famous big leaguers from Lemoyne.
I didn't know Lemoyne was D1. I didn't know that. Go ahead.
Yeah, for like 20 something years, 22 years, the baseball only program was women's lacrosse, played in the Metro Atlanta Conference. Okay. So in Lemoyne was a storied baseball program, very successful. With the athletic director, Dick Rockwell, was the coach, and he hired me. And it was down a little bit when I got there, but we got it going really quick, and we were winning some conference titles and going to NCAA regionals, and we got a lot of kids drafted, and it was great. And I stayed there for like 10 or 12 years, and then the things changed, and the school got kicked out of the MAC, and we were going back to I think eventually they were going back to Division II, and I wasn't interested in that. So I was hired that summer to work at Bryant University in Rhode Island, right outside of Providence. And that was a Division II school that had gone Division I and played in the Northeast Conference. So I took that job, and that was a great experience because we grew and developed a program that was very, very successful. We probably averaged like 35 or 40 wins a year for a long period. Had a lot of pro players and had a lot of fun, and it was great. Built facilities, and then I'd done just about everything I could do there, and this opportunity arose a little over a year ago. And I was excited about it because I wanted to stay in the Northeast. Like, I'm a Northeast guy. And I wanted, I felt that I had earned the opportunity to get a Power 5 job. I was excited for that challenge. And, everything worked out with the interview here and with my agent and with the athletic directors and those that were running the search. And then I was hired and started a new journey. So the last year has been a little bit tumultuous for sure, but it was great. It was a great move down. I'm excited to be here, and I never felt like my first year would I get a season canceled and not be able to recruit. Like, those are two things that that you don't anticipate happening, right? But so again. Those are things I can't control. So all we've been doing is trying to get better, and we're like I said, we're trying to get back and coach our guys.
Man,
that's a quick little rundown on.
No, I mean, it's awesome, man. I mean, coaching at 24, pro. I love learning about you guys. In the background, I really don't do no straight digging. You know what I'm saying? I know you came from Bryant, college. I didn't go past that though. You know what I'm saying? So. Right. Obviously I know exactly where you're from. I've been up there to Utica, played a lot up there, and I ain't gonna say a lot. Played some games up there, high school playoffs, and Lemoyne, like I said, Syracuse, right next to Syracuse University. So those are my parts of it. Cortland State. Many of my high school people went to Cortland State. So depending on what years, you may have had a player or two of but you're probably the same age as me. So anyway, the great information, two-sport guy. I love that aspect of it, man. So let's start there. And I'm gonna get into the whole way of recruiting right now. So shout out to everybody listening in. Just real fast, I think I want to shout out one particular person. You probably know who he is. And I just want to, make sure he's at Brian Boo Green. So what's up, Coach? Bo Green is in the building. I'm guessing, you might know that guy. I don't know. Maybe me, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, we are two-sport guys, man. Some brag about that. Let's talk about that. Me, being a two-sport guy. And the funny thing about it, Rutgers, way back in the day, 20, well, I ain't gonna say how many years ago, but they gave me my first offer out of high school football wise. And But you being a two sport guy, do you tend to gravitate towards those guys when you're in the recruiting trail? You know what I'm saying? Those two sport guys, can you vibe with that person a little bit easier, just the strictly baseball guy? Because sometimes I could kind of tell a kid that's played, that plays multiple sports.
Listen, my entire coaching career recruiting has been based on recruiting athletes, because I've never been at this level before where I could, we could pretty much recruit whoever we want, and we're kind of recruiting at the highest level of college athletics. So I've always had to pick kids that were, maybe a little undersized or this or that, or weren't quite developed yet with their skills, but they were athletic. So 2-sport, 3-sport, 4-sport athletes, the more sports they play, the more I like them. I want athletes that know how to compete. I hate specialization at a young age. I've recruited many kids that played all the sports. When I was in New England, we recruited a ton of hockey players, left-handed hitting, tough hockey players. At Cortland, we had, kids that played both sports. At Lemoyne, we had kids that played both sports. So athleticism, and I love kids that play multiple sports, because I think when we get that type of kid and then he just focuses on baseball from that point forward, I think there's a tremendous amount of growth that can happen. And I've seen it, I've been a part of it. So it's exciting when we get a kid that's really athletic, and then we turn him into just a baseball player. They still have a lot of growth and development to do, but you add all that athleticism and all that experience and all that competitiveness from all these different sports, and you put them into a baseball player, and then you teach him how to play the game and let him work hard because he loves to work hard, and you can get some great results. So that's a big part of my formula, and it's going to continue to be a big part of my formula. I'm not changing it.
I love it, man. I agree, man. Just something about those two sport, guys, and so then you hustle and you work hard and win at every program, and man, I got personal questions that from building the programs, and when exiting, when do you know when it's time? You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the type of stuff that I would love to ask you on here, but I let me just get to the cookie cutter, the type of questions that I know that the parents will want to know more so when it comes to Rutgers. So let me, from a Power 5 standpoint in the recruiting nowadays, man, with the COVID and everything, how difficult has it been, especially your first year and you having to go through this and trying to build your culture, build your class, and all of that, man. So, with the COVID, how has that handcuffed you, short and long term?
Well, we had a long list of kids and schools, and we're in a new area, right? So we want to get out there and make our presence known. And I have a tremendous coaching staff, with with Brendan Monahan, who I know you had on, and Kyle Petarudo. Kyle's been with me for 7 or 8 years. Brennan, I think this is year 5 or 6. And then Brandon Cogswell, who played at Virginia, who's an Albany guy. And then our director of operations, Pete Barron. So those guys, they work their tails off, or I wouldn't have them on my staff. That's the number one criteria. They're grinders. They are working hard, and we're acclimating to a new area. Not a new area. I mean, we're not in a new area. I've been recruiting New Jersey for years, but now we want to really recruit New Jersey, and we've already started to put our stamp on it pretty strongly, and we're not stopping. Like, we're going to keep going until we achieve our objectives, which is to be the destination place for a lot of elite players. And so we still have work to do, but we feel, that we've we've recruited a lot of players this year, and we're not settling for mediocrity. We're not settling for players that can't play at this level. We're not settling for players that we don't feel have the drive, motivation to want to play professional baseball. So we've done a lot of work, but it's been a little, you'd like to do it more with your eyes, being at the field, watching how a kid, handles success and failure, how his teammates like him. Is he a complainer? Is he a team guy? Does he do the little things? Now we're looking at a video camera like this, and we're seeing a kid swing. We're not seeing, the whole game. And I like recruiting the whole game. I like to see the game. I like to pay attention. I like to use my eyes and my experience to evaluate and project. And we can't do that as much right now. So we've relied on phone calls. We've called about as many coaches as you possibly can call over a 2-month period. 4 kids got playing. We called hundreds of high school coaches in New Jersey. And we split them all up, and we called these guys, and we wanted to tell them that we're in town, we're here, and we're going to be good, and this is how we're going to do it, and we want you. And we made a lot of contacts. It paid off for us. We want to know, we want to try to keep as many kids in the area as we can. It's a high priority. But again, we want the best players, We don't want number 2, 3, or 4. Like, I don't like finishing second, third, or fourth, or fifth. I want to finish first. So when it comes to finishing first, you got to go get dudes, and we want the right ones. We're not going to get them all either, right? Because New Jersey is plucked by many, many states in every sport. There's a lot of kids here that are high-level players in a lot of sports, men and women. We don't want them all. We only can have 35 on our team, so we want the right amount. And we feel like we've made a lot of progress with the kids that we brought in for this year, as well as going forward 3 or 4 classes. And we're right in the mix with elite players right now, and we're that's our top priority, because that's the only thing we can control right now is recruiting.
Man, I love it, man. So you got to hit that ground running and establish, those roots in New Jersey. I mean, I had this conversation with Brendan when he was on. It's like, quietly, I don't think really the country knows how much talent is in New Jersey. You know what I'm saying? Obviously the Trouts and the Todd Fraziers and, are in the big leagues, but there's a lot that goes, gets drafted every year, and all, like you said, in all sports, boys and girls, right?
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, I live like in the middle, and I can get to South Jersey in an hour, and I can get to North Jersey in an hour, and so it's kind of neat to be. There's 9 million people in New Jersey. It's a small state and very populated. The other thing is that I didn't know, but like the New Jersey high schools. Student coming out, I think nationally it might be the highest ranking kids in the country coming out of high school with their SAT scores, with the quality of both the public and private educations in New Jersey, the charts, high academic kids. So when you get high academic kids and they're really good, those kids can go to school anywhere they want in the country, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And and there's a lot of wealth as well. So a lot of kids that are smart and good, and their parents have means. A lot of choices for those kids. So we want to be one of those choices. Their parents can stay in state and watch them play in a Power 5 conference, and we want to be successful, and we want all the media attention that can come with building a successful program in New Jersey and in the New York metro area. So, we have a lot of goals and aspirations. There's little steps that have to happen. It changes through success and through culture and through talent. And it's not something that you just turn the switch and change, overnight. But I also feel like, everywhere I've been in an NCAA tournament by year 3. And then we were rolling every single time. And we have a lot of hurdles to overcome. That when you come somewhere, you don't know all the hurdles, but You know that there's, usually when there's a change, things haven't been going great, and so it's our job to get it turned around, and we're going to try like heck to do it. It might take longer than we want, but we're gonna stay the course, and we're gonna grind it out. We're gonna get it done.
I love it. So, speaking of changing that culture, putting in the work, back in the day, and I'm a mid-90s guy in high school, right? So the Northeast school, I believe at that time, you tell me I'm wrong, was like Seton Hall. I felt like was like the Northeast school at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I've been out of the loop, out of there. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the college scene. Is Rutgers been, because I haven't seen too many major leaguers coming out of the Seton Hall. I've seen a few from St. John's and stuff, but Rutgers, I personally have had them on my team, the David Jesus and guys like that have come out of Rutgers. Has Rutgers been the school to come to in the Northeast? But because you're there now, maybe have not. What's been the team, in the Northeast right now?
Well, Rutgers is the team to come to now. That's what we're out here for, right? So, but there's a lot of good programs in the Northeast. But we've had 103 or 104 professional players in the history of our program. We've had 16 in the major leagues. That's a lot, and there's going to be a lot more. We're going to, that's a goal and aspiration to recruit high-level players. We got to get kids into pro baseball. And so there's a relationship there, and we got to get the right type of kids to make that happen. When during Coach Hill's long tenure, he had tons of high-level players in his program, and a lot of them went on to play professional baseball, and they won a lot of championships and went to a lot of NCAA tournaments. That was mostly in the Big East, some in the Atlantic 10. And there was times when I don't even think they were in a conference, but you were, you had successful programs for a long, long time. And so we're looking to rekindle that. We're just in a different conference right now, right? We're not in the Big East right now. We're in the Big Ten. We have to travel a lot, but we get to play Michigan and Nebraska and Indiana and Iowa. So it's pretty cool that we're in the Northeast and we get to play in a Power 5, conference against those type of teams. That's exciting. St. John's and Seton Hall and UConn and Boston College and Northeastern and Bryant, and there's a lot of schools that have produced quite a few pro players and major league players and really good high level players. So you can do that everywhere, but our goal is to win on a consistent basis, to be a destination place for the elite high school or junior college or transfer to settle in, to want to be in a high-level academic conference like the Big Ten, and then be able to play, on a national spotlight against great competition. So I feel we have a lot to sell, but it's not like this. We have to reinvent the wheel here. I mean, this has been done here before at Rutgers, and I mean, if you're paying attention, our basketball team just did it last year. I mean, they were an NCAA tournament team when. Maybe Coach Peichel was told, hey, this is a tough job, but you can't, no one can win at Rutgers. And he took the job and he's winning at Rutgers. And so they were very, very good last year, and they're going to be very good. And probably somebody told Greg Schiano at some point that he couldn't, be a top 5 team in the country in the Big East at Rutgers too. And I guess he didn't listen to that either, because he got that done too. So, all the naysayers and the people that tell us what we can't do or what we don't have, I don't listen to them, because I know what we do have, and we have players in this state. And once we win, those players are going to want to be part of this, because this is a tremendous conference. It's first class all the way, and I think we're going to build it, and then we're going to build more facilities, and then we're become very, very attractive, and we have high and lofty goals. It's just going to require a lot of work, and it's going to require commitment too. It's going to be require commitment to build things, because as high-level recruiting requires high-level facilities, and we're not quite there with the facilities yet, but we're going to work on it. And we have a lot of alumni that are very successful, people that are willing to help us and want to help us.
I mean, that's one of the few things I don't know much about the baseball facility aspect of it. I just know the players that Rutgers produce, but and I have some questions coming in, and I'm gonna start posting them. But I wanted to know from on a recruiting side, when you go from Bryant to Rutgers, now you're in a Power Five. Is there? I mean, obviously you're there, and the pressure's there to win more. But do you feel like walking into a parent's class? I mean, a parent's house now. Do you feel a little bit of an ease? Having the Rutgers on your chest and the Bryant. No disrespect to Bryant, but do you feel like, man, you're in a top-notch state? Great talent. You're a Power Five school playing in a great conference, like you said. Was there a sense of like, man, when I got this, obviously you're excited, but a sense of like, I'm gonna really do my thing now,
I feel like there might be a greater ceiling for what we can accomplish as a coaching staff because of our resources that we have available to us, because of the talent base, because of the large school and the excitement of being in such a wonderful conference, and because of the high level academics. And then I'll throw another one in there, like, it's really cheap to go to Rutgers. It's $12,000 for tuition plus $3,000 of fees if you're in state. And the average SAT is like 1330 or 1340. People don't understand how high that is.
Wow.
I mean, so there's, and we have every academic offering that there is. Like literally, I don't know if there is something that we don't have. It's a big school, so you have a lot of offerings. It's very expensive. I mean, I feel like it's an exciting time to be there. I feel like I maybe am getting here at the right time of my professional life with the experience that I've accumulated and the success that I've had with the guys that I have working with me, and then with my vision. I haven't lost. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but I haven't lost my passion and my drive or my competitiveness. If anything, it's escalated and elevated. So I'm here to do the work, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna be asking for help. We need something. I'm gonna ask for it. I didn't come here to be average, and I didn't come here to be just okay. I came here, to do my job that they're paying me to do, and to do it with high energy, and to make the school and the state proud. And I want to be to Omaha. I want to host a super regional. I want to be a tournament team every year, and I want to have. I want to do it with class. I want to do it the right way. So there's, I do feel like there's some pressure there, but again, hey, if you're a good athlete, you got to be good under pressure. And if you're a good coach, you got to be good under pressure. And if you're a good salesman, you got to be good under pressure. So like, whatever, it is what it is, I chose to be here. I could have stayed where I was, and I'm happy for this challenge. I'm excited for my family. And I'm still learning a lot about the school and the area, but I learned a lot last year, and I'm a pretty quick adapter.
Good deal, man. I love it, man. I can hear your passion. Get some of these questions in, Coach. Do you recommend a two-sport player to only focus on that sport for that season?
Yes. That doesn't mean, so if you're a football player, like you get done playing baseball in August and you go and then you play football, and you don't swing the bat and try to throw baseballs during football season. But you might want to do that during basketball season, because I think you can play basketball and, train your swing and get your arm in shape so that you don't have to rush when you go into baseball season. But I personally think that, think it's foolish to try to play multiple sports at the same time. and trained. You know, the way kids are training at a higher level now, they're bigger, stronger, faster. You know, so I feel, but I do feel, you know, certain sports you can stay sharp with your skill set, but not necessarily play it at the same time as your in-season sport.
All right. All right. Russ says, why doesn't Rutgers play more at Somerset Patriots Stadium? Why not play Princeton at Trenton Thunder Stadium? Rutgers needs a state rival.
Well,
Seton Hall needs a rival? No. Oh, they're in the Big East. No, they don't. You know.
Seton Hall was. If you were at the Seton Hall basketball game last year, you would have been excited for that game because that was huge. But we, you know, I feel like, you know, when Rutgers was in the Big East, obviously Seton Hall and St. John's would have been big rivals because they're close, you know, and we don't play them anymore in the conference, but we are going to continue to now play St. John's midweek. We're going to play Seton Hall for a weekend. I think we had Seton Hall set up, I don't know if it's this year or next year, for a home, away, and then a neutral game either in Lakewood or at Trenton or Somerset. You know, we were looking at playing a couple conference weekends at some of these places as well too, or maybe some Friday night games. And we were changing our midweek schedule and trying to play, you know, the Columbias and the Princetons and Monmouth and trying to play different teams. But there's only so many, you know, midweek games that we can play. And I mean, you know, I kind of think like that your rivals should be in the conference that you're in. And we're not in the Big East anymore. So obviously we compete against these schools for players, and we should have healthy, really cool, fun midweek games to play that are competitive. And so, you know, I think I don't know who the state rival is yet. I haven't played enough games here yet, but you know, hopefully our rival is who we're playing to potentially, you know, win a Big Ten championship.
All right. Let's see. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Shout out to AD. Russ says, how's your 2023 and 2024 class? We have some Piscataway kids ready to go to Rutgers.
We've, like I said, my staff has done a great job, and we've been very creative and very ambitious and done a lot of work. So, you know, we can't talk about specific players other than the incoming ones that are signed for this year per NCAA rules. But we have a super class this year. I'm really excited about this year's team. I feel people are going to, if we get a chance to play, which we're hoping, you know, that happens. I feel like we could be very, very good and very exciting to watch play, and that should kick us off and get us going in the right direction. And we have, you know, several kids. We almost are done with our 21 class. We're close to being done with our 22 class, which is extremely exciting, especially with the in-state players that we have coming in that class. And we have some good young 23s that have, you know, that are headed in our direction at this point right now too. So, you know, there's a heavy emphasis on our roster for New Jersey kids from a cost standpoint and a location standpoint, and that's our focus. So we've got kids in multiple classes. I think, you know, over the course of this entire year, I think we may have recruited, you know, 28 or 30 players over 4 or 5 classes.
Nice. All right. Speaking of that, before you answer this question, Coach, because we've been heavy Northeast and mainly heavy New Jersey, but obviously a lot of my listeners are not in New Jersey. You know, we have a parent asked how many players you have from the South, but before you answer that question, what is the out-of-state fees? We talked about the in-state. What are the out-of-state fees when it comes to?
Yeah, so all in, if you were living on campus as a freshman, it's like 30, with half of that being your living costs. And then our upperclassmen all live off campus, so then they're just paying Rutgers their tuition and fees, and then they rent an apartment. It becomes much cheaper going forward. Out of state is for room, board, tuition, fees, and everything else, that you have to pay. So I think somewhere around 45, 46, which is still very reasonable compared to most of the private schools in the Northeast. So it's still a very reasonable option. I think the tuition alone is about $28,000 out of state. So, still a hefty price tag, but quite reasonable when you compare it to many of the Northeastern choices for private education. And again, we're right there with rankings on, the Rutgers Business School is off the charts and very, very difficult and challenging to get into. So how many players do we have from the South?
Mm-hmm.
We have a pitcher and an outfielder from Miami. We have two pitchers, and we have a right-handed pitcher and a left-handed pitcher and an outfielder from Miami, Florida. And we have an incoming shortstop, second baseman from San Francisco, California. And that's all we have from the South.
And West. Yeah. Wayne says, is your current roster comprised of top high school recruits or the diamond and the rough players? Maybe the players were good players in high school, but were kind of overlooked in the recruiting process with other schools.
Our current roster, we have 14 players coming into our program this year. It's a mixture of 4-year transfers from very good programs, both in and out of state. It's got 3 or 4 or 5 junior college players, some from New Jersey and some from out of state, some from California, some from Pennsylvania. We have 3 or 4 grad transfers that are just coming in for 1 year to do their master's degree. And we have 5 or 6 high school players. So it's a very mixed class. Some of them were very, very high profile players that were drafted out of high school, and some are the diamond in the rough players. And we got to have a combination of both of those. Some kids that we have in some of our future recruiting classes, aren't even ranked or people don't know about them, but that doesn't mean they're not good. It just means that we know about them and other people didn't know about them. So that's another advantage of being in the state is, and if we could actually get in our car and go drive and watch a game, when this dead period opens up, it'll give us an ability to evaluate kids closer to home very frequently instead of just once and make less mistakes on talent.
I like, sound like you got a lot of JUCO grad transfers, so like 1 or 2 year guys, holdover type guys until you really start bringing in your young kids. That's what it sounds like, right?
That's what we had to do because of money and players that are already in the program that have to keep playing through the program. We had there were some guys leaving and some guys coming in, but then money doesn't open up for a couple of years the way things were built, and so we have more high school players in 22 and 23. And the primary goal is to recruit and evaluate and get the incoming high school kid every year. But then I'm never going to shut the door on the junior college player or the transfer or the grad transfer, because I feel that there's, needs are needs, and however we can get the best player, we're not going to pigeonhole ourselves into, only doing one thing. We want to be able to recruit whatever we need and wherever we need to get it. It doesn't matter if it's a transfer or a freshman or a 4-year transfer. So whatever happens, but to be good every year, and that's the goal. Like I've never tried to build my program and cut corners to try to be good for one season to get somewhere else. Like that's not the goal of my coaching philosophy. Is I've tried to build it and get it good and then maintain it. And do that by having 4-year players in your program. And that's our goal, is to get 4-year players, and then we can add to that however we need to. But we don't want 1 million guys going in and out every year.
Right. And that's I get it. I like the strategy. I haven't heard much, I guess you being a new coach, understanding, being coaching for a long time. So you know your formula. Because I haven't had most coaches. I've had a lot of, guys coming back from the senior because of COVID, but I haven't had a coach say, yeah, I got 4 or 5 grad transfers coming in. You know what I'm saying? So you know you're having them for 1 year. They're very experienced. And
Very experienced.
how do you go about finding those guys? How do you
Well, in the Ivy League, you can't play a fifth year right now. So those kids that were hurt at some point, even before the COVID, potentially put themselves in the portal, or you know that they have another year of eligibility. And then when the draft got shortened, some of those kids that thought they were going to get drafted were still out there. Then there was a lot of waivers that were available to 4-year transfers this year. And that might end up going forward too, where you're allowed a one-time transfer like you used to be able to up until 2007. In the summer of 2007 or so is when, maybe September 1st of 2007 is when the transfer rule changed and you had to sit out to transfer.
Right.
So there might be pending legislation going forward because of the backlog of players, the shortened draft, over recruiting. There's a lot of issues that are coming to a head. Plus, everyone's getting an extra year of eligibility. The draft, you give everyone an extra year of eligibility in your program. You've got a 4 or 5 year problem here.
And that's what I see listening to you guys. I mean, it's a problem, but I also truly believe, because of everything you just said, that the college game is going to be at an extremely high competitive level. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel that way just because of everything that's going on? With the COVID, the kids, do you feel like it's going to be just an extra kick of experienced players coming back and a lot of guys coming in here, and guys can't go in the draft like they used to, so they have to come back? Do you feel like upkick, in talent, or is it, it is
right? I 100% feel that way. That college baseball is going to be at the highest level with the deepest rosters and the most talent that there's ever been in the game, because of maybe 1,000 players didn't go into professional baseball this year across the country. And then
look at it like that.
Junior college players and high school players. And then, and now you also have, kids that are 22 or 23 years old that could be fifth year seniors coming back for 3 or 4 years in a row. Those are men, right? Those are big dudes that are experienced. They've been around, and they might be very motivated to just put a special year together, even if they haven't played a lot. And then you also have great competition on your team because, the guy that might have been able to play for 3 years all of a sudden thinks he's going to play year 4, and now somebody better shows up or comes in. So there's more competition too. So I think college baseball could be elevated. Again, I'm hoping, that doesn't hurt the players either, because, you want to bring in the right amount of players so you're very good. You have the right depth, and you protect yourself from the draft and who you're going to lose. But over recruiting and hoarding players and then running them off is it's very prevalent as well, and it's wrong. It shouldn't happen. So I feel like
I mean, I got a bunch of questions, but I'm nosy, man. I want to know, who, because we got into this years when I first started doing it. My first few coaches and Mike Gambino, Boston College, guys like that. My boy, they hit me to the game. I didn't realize how that type of stuff goes on, man. So can you embark on that just a little bit deeper, man?
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like we're all recruiting 2 or 3 classes out, right? And it's all verbal stuff. And then, so if you have, if you have a high level program and you anticipated that the draft was going to be a normal 40 rounds or even 25, you're at a Power 5 school, maybe most of your seniors would all get drafted, even if it was late or signed. And then your high level juniors, they're going to get drafted, right? So you kind of anticipate that, and you have to build that in, and you build in the formula. And then, so maybe you recruited 20 kids in your class because some of those kids might get drafted too. And now you only have room for 10 because 5 are coming back that you thought were leaving. The just don't add up. So either returning players got to go, or incoming players got to go. And either way, it's kind of tough on the kids. So we're trying to I'm trying to have a really good balance, and we've tried to maintain this year. There's an unlimited roster in Division I baseball. You could have 100 kids on your team this year. A lot of people have a lot of players, and where are they going to go next year? And how do you coach? How do you coach that many kids? How do you coach 45 or 50 kids? I don't know how you do that. I mean, we only have 3 coaches. Again, we owe it to the players to be fair and safe and honest with them, and they have to compete to play. But, it's just a very difficult formula. And I think, the extra year of eligibility has thrown a huge wrinkle. Those 2 things, the extra year of eligibility along with a shortened draft, has caused a lot of headaches. And it's very difficult to manage the roster because it's different. And each year might be different going forward also. So, that's a tough thing to balance.
Listen, from a talent standpoint, I understand, you're going to have a talent roster, but there's going to be a lot of tough decisions that you're going to have to make as a head coach, man. But let me ask you this. I just want to have an understanding for my listeners. I kind of already know this answer, but I want, I've had a new crop of listeners come and listen, man. So when that school has 20 commits and you just said only 10 leave, and so now you got 10 extra kids that think they're going to that particular school, what is that decision? What is that talk like when you got to call that kid and say, listen, I know you've been a year and a half and going around saying you're coming to XYZ school, but you cannot. Are the coaches waiting to the last minute, or they letting them come on the campus and do all the practicing and then telling them? How's that working?
Well, your actual NCAA roster doesn't have to go in until you play your first game. So that's February 18th. So at certain schools. So you could carry an extra 10 or 15 guys in the fall, and then they get cut before you play February 18th. So I don't really know how individual coaches do that. I'm not really concerned with that because I'm only really concerned about running my own program.
Gotcha.
And do that. So I'm not worried about it. I just it just
goes on though.
Right, but I have to recruit against everyone, and so I can show a kid, hey, there's 22 kids in that class, and we have 8, and we have a spot for you, and we have a need for you, But I also understand, some of those places with a lot of big roster and great facilities and a super conference, how attractive that is to a kid, right? And so you don't blame the kid for saying, well, I'm gonna be fine. They don't understand that they're not fine until they're back home.
Yeah, you're right. That was funny, man. But and it's funny, but it's sad. It's the reality. It's the truth, man. But
yeah, it is. But I fight. We have to recruit against the top schools in the country, right? And so that's a lot of kids make the decision, to buy a shiny car, and they don't get to drive it.
I love that saying. God, I'm gonna use that. Where are you projected to finish in the conference?
I don't know. I mean, I always try to finish first every year. So that I never set my goals on second or third or fourth or fifth. So that's what we're going to try to do. And obviously we haven't gotten a chance to play a Big Ten game yet. And I know how good the coaches are in our conference. And I know how great the facilities are. And I know, what Michigan has been doing and what Indiana did before. And so, I know it's a huge challenge, and it's a very, very good conference. And, our goal is to be very, very good, to get ourselves into the postseason tournament. And then we would like to be a good enough team to be considered for an at-large NCAA bid. Like that's those are very, very lofty goals. But where, what's the goal? I mean, I don't know where we're projected, but I know that we're going to be a lot better than maybe people expect us to be this soon.
Okay. I don't bet against you, Cole. I ain't gonna lie. I just, you know, I hear it in your voice, man. I hear it in your
Yeah.
voice, man. Russ says, do you recruit mainly from perfect game type events or from kids coming to your camps? Which way is the best way to get on your radar? Travel, referrals, Twitter?
In a normal year, we're everywhere, right? So we literally, the coaches are just, three of us are out, and we're really working hard, evaluating, and trying to figure out who the best players are. And you're working on 2 or 3 classes at a time, so it's very, very tough. And you like to see people at all different events, at local events, at Legion events, at travel team events. You're watching high school games on off days. Once we get involved with a kid, we really want him to come to one of our camps so that, we can get to meet him and we can work with him for a full day and see if we like him and talk to him with our mouths and just see little intangibles that make a difference in whether, does he have the right character? Excuse maker? Is he a tough kid? Does he hustle? Is he a faker? Does he hustle when you're looking at him and then loaf when you're not looking at him? Like, is he a showcase player? Like, does he have a nice BP, but he can't hit in a game? He's got no approach, and there's all different things, right? So there's not one place, but I really like kids coming to our small camps once we evaluate them, because then we know the kid. And as Brendan told you before, we want great players, but we want great kids too. And more importantly, I want the kid that wants to come and play for me because he believes in what we're doing. He wants to be part of it. And you get to tell that through conversation and how kids act and stuff. So it's a combination of all those things. High school coaches are really important to us. Travel coaches, professional scouts, what we see, Twitter. Yeah, we can get a name from Twitter. Last I checked, you couldn't tell if a player was good or not on Twitter or Instagram or anything else. You can see some stuff, but the game can trick you really quick. Like I said, a lot of showcase dudes out there, and bullpen. The bullpen pitchers, they chuck it as hard as they can, spin it. That's wonderful until you got to pitch in a game and get a hitter out. And that's what we want. We want to watch them pitch in a game and get a hitter out.
Hey, I got. Listen, there's a lot of questions coming in, but I got to dig a little deeper into that, man. About you hit on a few little things, man. I like to talk about, man. So you hit on getting and seeing a kid play, and then being a showcase player. Can you please that's hot one of these hot topics, man, that we talk about all the time. So the parents understand and people listening in, what is your definition of a showcase player?
I mean, just one that doesn't play on a regular basis for the same team, where you can follow him, watch his progress, anticipate when he's playing based on his routines, and so he's all over the place. He's jumping all over the place. He's pitching Friday in front of this group of coaches. He goes to a different field, throws in a different showcase Saturday, then he throws Sunday. In addition to blowing your arm out, like one inning of a showcase setting doesn't make you a good pitcher. Okay. And if you're a good high school pitcher, if we're recruiting pitchers, they better be starting pitchers. Like bullpen high school guys, we want to recruit starting pitchers that pitch innings, that pitch on a regular fashion. And, so when you jump around all the time, you might get I'm not saying that's not a great formula for a parent or a kid to get exposure either. Maybe a scholarship. I'm just telling you what I want to watch kids play games. We might see them in a showcase, but then we want to do our due diligence and watch them play. And sometimes you don't get the opportunity because decisions happen very quickly. But I would much rather go back to watching, D Brown play, a Legion game with his team in the summer where he has practice 3 days a week and plays the other 4 days a week than I would have to drive to Georgia to watch a kid from New Jersey pitch 1 inning. Doesn't make any sense to me, right?
Right.
So,
I love it. That's why I wanted you to explain that. That's great information. So let me get these, because I want to hog up my own questions, but let me get these. It's for the parents, but let me see here. We got if you give a kid a verbal early, do you keep those offers or do you pull the scholarships? What percentage of these kids that receive an early offer actually attend the school?
If we get a verbal from I haven't lost a verbal commitment from a kid in 30 years. But I haven't coached at this level either. And I know a lot of stuff happens differently. And it may happen differently because everything's different right now. It's changing and evolving. So my percentage is 100%. And unless a kid gets drafted out of high school and then he signs, right? He doesn't show up. But when you get that, what could happen is the kid could get in trouble. The kid could wind up not being academically eligible. So there's a lot of reasons why a verbal might not come to fruition. In addition, when you would verbal with a kid, it's a commitment between the two of you. And for the most part, it's been honored in baseball. It's not honored in football or basketball. It's like a fist fight right to the last minute. But there's been more ethics and morals showed in the past by the coaches, and I'm hoping it continues that way because it's much more enjoyable, but it may not. It may evolve into something different, which I feel it will evolve into something different. So you have to keep recruiting your kids. However, I feel like it's ethical if a coach verbaled with a kid and the kid was all in and the coach was all in, and then that kid stopped working, stopped doing the things that he was supposed to do, stopped doing what he needed to do to get on the radar, how he got on the radar in the first place, didn't train properly, got out of shape, performed poorly, didn't show the motive. I think at that point, the coach could have a conversation with the kid and say, listen, we recruited you and you were doing this, and now you're doing this. You need to change, or you have no chance of competing in our program, and you should look somewhere else.
Have you? Well, I guess if you say 100% verbal,
I have not had that. I have not had that conversation, but I've been at a major programs where we're not recruiting freshmen. So, that's different because a really good player wasn't going to commit to me 2 or 3 years early, right? Where now they might. And we might need that to get the elite kid before he goes to a Virginia or before he goes to a Vanderbilt or before he goes to Clemson. So we got to do what we have to do to recruit at a high level, and then we have to continue to establish. Once we get a commit, Coach Shiano told me this. He said, you recruit a kid until you get a commitment, and then when you get that commitment, you now have time to stop recruiting him, but to grow your relationship, to start the relationship process. So there's recruiting, and then there's growing a relationship with the kids once they commit.
Well, what's the difference? Because you're already building rapport to recruit the kid, right?
But once we've sold it and offered it and it's been taken. Now, we don't have to keep selling ourselves, right? Now we just need to know about. We can help the kid. Don't overthrow. Take care. We can counsel him. We can guide him in the right direction for where to play with and who to train with. Weight programs. We can't provide that in writing, but we can guide him through his through his scholastic career, and prepare him best to be successful when he gets here. So that's the difference.
Okay, gotcha.
Get every day and say, "Hey, are you still in?" I mean, we're still good, right? No, we have a different relationship once there's a commitment.
All right, I love it. All right. What's the difference from coaching and recruiting from a small school versus a Power 5?
There's a lot of differences, but the game's the same, and I want the same type of kid. I just need to. I'm competing more consistently against high-level programs that have a lot of advantages, and we have to do stuff a little bit earlier, and the amount of time that we have to spend doing it is quadruple. So it's very, very competitive.
All right. Let me see here. Transfers will be at an all-time high. Would you refer a player to another program, not in your conference?
If a kid wasn't going to play in our program and he wanted to transfer, we would support that, and we would try to help him 100% to find the right place, because that's what it's all about, right? Having a great experience. No one's happy when you don't play, or you don't have a role. So whether it changed and the program went past your ability level, or you got hurt and you can't quite get back to that level, there's a lot of different levels and there's a lot of different places to play. And I feel everyone should have the opportunity to play and be happy and enjoy your short time in college. So yeah, we would definitely refer a player and support it, unless the kid was not a good kid. If he was a bad kid, and then I wouldn't support it.
What let me see here. We have Bryce says, what top things to look for in a 2022 middle infielder?
Top things. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter what year they are. What we look for in a middle infielder is elite hands and feet, instinct, range, throwing from a variety of angles with arm strength, body control, the ability to. I like big players. Okay, you go watch professional baseball right now. These guys are monsters. I like big athletic players. I favor them over smaller players. That doesn't mean that Jose Altuve is not an absolute stud and can't play baseball for me. Like that, it's just saying in general, I like athletes that I can grow and develop, because I mean, I want to get a pro athlete, and pro athletes are big and strong and fast and athletic. So, and then the hitting is important as well, just at every position. But I don't believe that there's a place in the game now for just a defensive shortstop. We got to have a 9-person lineup that can hit. So we're very happy with some of the guys that we have in that class.
I know. I don't know. I'm living through you a little bit right now, right? So what I mean by that, coach, is I feel like you've been winning at these other programs, right? And now you're at Rutgers, but now you like, hey, I can pick some absolute monsters out here now, because I'm at a big, I got the conference, I got the talent, so do you feel like, what I'm saying? I mean, you got to compete, because you can say you got everybody coming plucking those Jersey kids and the Northeast and whatever, but do you feel like right now where you are is, I mean, you got to work hard for those kids, but like, man, I ain't got to just take that kid no more. I can go for that stud kid.
I feel we can. And listen, so just like anybody else, we're trying to go after the best, but we're trying to get our needs also. So if you have 2 shortstops, then you don't go get another one because he's there, because that's screwed. Then you don't have enough pitching or enough catching or enough. It's a balance. So some people get upset when you tell them your son is a wonderful player, or the coach, yeah, I love the kid, he's awesome, but I don't have any money for him and we really don't have a need for him. To me, that's honesty, because we don't, and so we want enough players, but then again, you got to have the right. You don't recruit what you don't need. If you're an NFL team and you have the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, then you go recruit other skill players because their offensive line is very, very good. You don't just keep recruiting offensive linemen with your draft choices. So it's the same thing. You gotta pick the right people for each class, and sometimes it upsets people. even though somebody might be the best player in New Jersey, but you're like, hey, I already got money into these guys, and I can't do another guy at that position. Obviously, pitching is the hardest thing and the thing that separates you out the most. Elite pitching, that's the hardest to get, and that's the easiest thing that everyone kind of plucks out, and very, very difficult to recruit high-level pitching. It's easier. There's more good position players than there are elite pitchers, right?
I was about to say, is that one position that you be like, listen, I only got 10 slots, but this kid is a stud. Let me find room. Because pitching, you can't. Is it a pro style? Like, hey, you can never have too much pitching, or what do you feel?
Yeah, again, it's a total balance. But I'm a hitting guy, so I love hitters, and I love guys that pack doubles and home runs, and I just offensive. Like, I like the offensive part of the game a lot. But years ago, you can watch the World Series 30 years ago or 80 years ago or 2 years ago, and the announcers say, hey, good pitching will be good hitting, and it's usually right. Like, that adage doesn't seem to change too much, right? So you got to do both. You got to defend, you got to pitch, and you got to hit. You got to have all those things. You can't be one-dimensional. You got to be flexible and adjust to your talent and be adaptable and build your philosophy each year on what your strengths are. But because you can't control all the intangibles every year. Like, a professional team can buy their players and a college team can't.
That's another question, but let me get some of these in. All right, let me. Are you redshirting most of the kids in this year's class, and will redshirt for the next few classes to get rid of the backlog of players?
No, we brought 4 seniors back from last year, and we're not redshirting anybody unless they get hurt, and that's the only option, or we get well into the season and they haven't played and they don't play in any games, then they automatically are eligible for another year by not playing in any competition. So purposely redshirt a kid, unless the kid came in and said, hey, I want a redshirt because I'm going to spread my academic program out for 5 years, and I know I'm not good enough to play this year in games, so I don't want to just get a few at-bats. But no, we don't redshirt kids just to redshirt them. We would redshirt them medically, or if they didn't play, or if they requested it before we played them a little bit. We would think about that or have a conversation with the young man.
All right. Todd says, Big Ten, will we have a spring baseball season?
100%, right? I don't know. I'm in these meetings every day. I never thought we wouldn't have a baseball season last year, and I never thought I wouldn't be able to recruit this summer, and I never thought I wouldn't be able to go watch football this fall. So your guess is as good as mine. I believe we'll have a basketball season, and that potentially, things people will be playing in the, from January on. And so we play from January on. So I'm hoping that what might happen, though, is because of the financial issues with all this, the COVID issues across the entire country, including athletics and including high-level athletics, there may be conference-only schedules. We might not play a full 56 games. Everyone might have to play more of a condensed schedule to save some money, reduce travel, stay in conference only, where you have light protocols with COVID testing and things like that. So we're preparing to play a full season. We already were unfortunately, we lost our season last year, and so we're hoping that doesn't happen again. They're trying to make plans maybe to play fall sports in the spring. So you might be able to watch a football game, a baseball game on Friday at Rutgers, and a football game on Saturday, and then another baseball game on Sunday. It could be great for people that love sports.
Yeah, it's good for TV, but I wonder how them bodies gonna feel for those football players coming back and trying to play in the fall. I don't know, man. So We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know how that, I don't know how that could is going to. But again, they just pay me to coach baseball, so I'm going to get baseball players ready to play, and then
No, that's right.
do what they tell me to do.
All right. Another question. Let me see. We have what can Rutgers do to keep the best Jersey players home? Many of the best kids go out of state.
Right. What we can do is try to get them, number one, but what we have to do is change our program so that we're very, very good and very successful. And then when we are, a very attractive in-state Power 5 program that's continuously going to postseason and developing high-level pro players, then we will pick the ones we want, and that'll be that. That's the goal.
All right. So piggybacking on that, with the formula, got a couple more questions, Coach, and I appreciate the time, brother.
Okay.
Russ says, what did you do that made you so successful at your other programs? Do you think that formula will work at Rutgers? And what is your formula for success?
I feel what I did was I worked hard. I recruited very good players who were very tough kids with a hard-nosed approach to the game. They care at a high care level and high talent levels, and we worked them very hard, and we treated every game the same, whether it was a midweek game or a February game or a June game. We tried to win every one of them, and they did all the work, and I had excellent coaches. And then I had schools that supported us once we earned it and helped us grow facilities and have really nice things. And so that's the formula. And now my formula is not going to change. I'm working at a different school. I'm competing in a different conference at a different level. We have to be very good at what we do. And the formula, I'm not changing who I am as a coach or my eyes for evaluating talent and then how we get talent. We have to experience success. And when people see, if you're good in New Jersey, people love you. And if you stink, they don't like you. So the goal is to be good. People will get behind it. I was in the rack last winter and I watched the basketball team sell it out like 20 days in a row. It was electric. And
I remember Graciano. I mean, Rutgers was always a bottom of the barrel in football. And for those mid 2000 the Ray Rice years and stuff, they were a hot ticket. The Thursday night ESPN game sold out and place was rocking. I never seen that stadium like that.
And that's his vision. And so you coach and I'm gonna coach and recruit players that fit my style, that want to come play for us, that have the talent and want to be at Rutgers, want to play for their state. I want the next Todd Frazier's. That's what we want. We want those type of kids, have an edge, cocky, love playing, have fun, great teammates, love Rutgers, love the fact that their mom and dad and grandfather can come watch them play Michigan or Ohio State or Maryland by not getting on a plane and just getting a cup of coffee and driving over to Baton Field. I mean, that's what we want, So, and we're gonna sell it, and we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it done.
It ain't nothing like that. It ain't nothing like that. That good Northeast, swag, man. You know what I mean? And I say Jersey. Now I'm gonna put you on the spot, Coach. All right?
Yeah.
I'm put you on the spot now. Last question, man.
Okay.
New York or New Jersey? Who got the better ball players? All right, over there. I'm gonna stay baseball. I'm gonna give Jersey its props when it comes to football, okay? But when it comes to baseball, I know you at Rutgers, man, but you in New York, born and bred in New York. All right. So what we got, man?
So D, listen, you did put me in a tough spot. And I'm gonna answer, right? I'm in New Jersey. Because I'm in New Jersey, and I wanted him to come play for me. I was able to recruit from Buffalo to Albany and down to Tipper, Long Island. I lived in New England for the last 8 years, and I recruited New England too. So, I think there's great players in the Northeast, and they're in all of those places. I've been a long time in each of those three regions, and I've enjoyed the kids equally well. But now I live in New Jersey and I work in New Jersey, and we're trying to do our very best to be the staple program and the kids from New Jersey want to come and play for.
All right. I knew you was gonna say that, but hey, that's why I said
a little political, right? It's a little political answer.
You gotta be right. It gotta be right. You gotta say the right things, and your heart may be a little different, but your mind, you gotta, I get it. You gotta play both sides. That's why I wanted to put you on the spot over there. But listen, Coach, it has been a absolute pleasure. I definitely want the best, for Rutgers, man. Again, it's hour and a half from New York, and great talent in Jersey. I know you got to be licking your chops, man, a little bit, man, because you've been winning at lesser programs, and the talent that's there in Jersey, and just got to put that fence around there and pluck kids from out of state. And I think with being in the Big Ten, and the Big Ten as a conference, I ain't even getting that much, but the Big Ten as a conference the last 3 to 5 years has been blowing up with Team Michigan being in the World Series themselves, and so I mean things got to be looking up. I know you got to be happy than a pig of mud right now, man.
Yeah, I'm. It's been very challenging, but I'm extremely excited to be here. I'm proud of the school and the direction that we're headed in everything. It doesn't matter if it's women's basketball or field hockey or men's lacrosse or baseball or basketball or football. I just feel that there's some really good leadership at our school. We have an exciting new president who unfortunately, has come into a very difficult time period. We have a great athletic director, and he has a great staff. And I love my staff that helps us in every way. I'm proud of them and putting, and then it doesn't matter how good you recruit either. The thing that we can control, like this is only my first recruiting class, right?
Right.
So 1/4 of my team is guys that I picked,
right.
But they're all my players, and right. I coach. We have to teach them how to play, and right. we have to establish the right culture for how hard we're going to play and practice, and what's acceptable and what's not. And this is how we're going to roll. And so, in addition to recruiting, you can talk about recruiting. Hey, we got to coach these kids
right.
and put them in the right place. We got to have them embrace their roles. We got to teach them how to compete at a high level. So it's not just recruiting, it's recruiting, and then it's teaching and developing. And then my favorite thing is coaching the game. There's a lot of coaches that get great players because they're great recruiters and they can't win. And, and then there's other guys that don't have great players and they win. And there's people that recruit great players and win because of talent, but they don't know how to coach the game. Be able to recruit. We want to be able to do everything at a high level. We want to recruit high players. We want to develop them and work them and increase their skills and increase the type of people they are. And then we want to coach the games, and make the right decisions and play the right guys and be able to perform at a high level in the biggest pressure situations. So it's a multifaceted part to be successful. It's not just one of those parts. You've got to have a lot of parts. So
I love how you always, you always bigging up your coaches too. I can hear that, man. And that's
my coaches are those guys are the extension of what I believe in. I challenge them very hard in conversation when we're evaluating. And we talk about players, and if it's not the right kid, we have the wrong conversation with the kid, we're out. We don't want him. You know, I don't care how good he is. We got to get the right kids. One of our things is we want the talented kids, but we want kids that want to be here and want to play for us. And they're, you know, those are the guys that you go to work with every day. They're like soldiers, right? In the Army, like you got your guy on your right and your left, and they got to have your back, and they got to be good at what they do. And we can't ever settle or let down. We got to keep working and enjoying it. We got to enjoy what we do. We got to be around each other. We got to have, you know, good lives outside of just grinding away all the time. We got to enjoy the games, and we got to enjoy the fruits of having the kids in our program. So there's a lot of factors, but you're right. You're right. Your staff is your most important thing that you can have as a head coach.
Good deal. Yeah, and I hear it. And you know, shout out to them and Brendan, who's on a great dude, great young kid, man. And it's fun talking with them, man. Russ, real fast again, masterclass, great nuggets, man. Just like you hear from Coach, man. Gosh, it's I love speaking with you guys, man, because I get these little tidbits. It helps me, you know what I'm saying, from a coaching standpoint. And, you know, just hearing the different hats that you guys have to wear from a head coach in a college game, I think is a little unique, different, you know, from a pro coach, definitely from the high school side. I just think you guys have to wear many hats. But anyway, the recruiting class, 6weekmasterclass.com. Sign up for that. You get great education on how this recruiting process works, based off of what coaches say, like Coach Owens has said. Coach, if you could, man, I've had a request for your email and Twitter, you know, for videos, anything like that, man, from a recruiting standpoint.
Yeah, my Twitter, I don't even know what it is, but if you put @SteveOwens30, I think that's what my Twitter is. And I'm not really active on social media. And there's an email listed on the website, on our Rutgers baseball website.
All
right. And so that usually those emails go in, and then, you know, the guys look them all over, and then they get me the ones that are directly for me, and then I respond to them.
All right, good deal. Jay Meyer, what's up? All right, Coach. I mean, you've been giving good nuggets, man. If you got one last message, to these parents, it could be about anything. You know what I'm saying? You've been giving great nuggets the whole time, but if you could kind of have all my guests take us out, and I get you on with your day. I appreciate your time, man. So if you give me one last message to get you out of here, man.
My message to the parents would be that as coaches, and this is from me, like, I want to recruit the player. We want to recruit the families, and you're important. But I don't want to talk to the parents all the time. I want to talk to the kids, because I'm the kid, not the parent, you know. Be involved. We're going to help him, you know. Kids, you know, all the coaches around the country, you know, are with the kids all the time, and coaches want to hear from the kids. And, you know, and they want, you know, parents have to help counsel kids, you know, with the finances and the education and the location, all those things. They help them with the choices, but no coaches want to be constantly inundated from the parents. Your kids are playing in a wonderful time with all this exposure. You know, if they're good, people are going to find them. You know, there's no secrets anymore. Their coaches are going to find them, and they're going to recruit them if they want them. You know, and I feel like the kids have a great opportunity to get out in front of tons of coaches. And the last thing is, I've coached at the Division III level. I've coached at state school in New York, a small private school in New York, a small private school in New England, and now I'm at one of the biggest state school, the biggest state school in New Jersey. So I've been all these different places, and there's a place for all good players that work hard and have some talent. It doesn't matter if you're a Division I player, Division II player, Division III player, junior college player, north, south. Like, think about what's important. What's important is your kid being the right fit for his talent, for his academics, and for him having a great experience. And it's not about the level, or you could go to Rutgers or you could go to some other school. I mean, it doesn't matter what level you go to if the kid's not playing. So I think the kids going to the right places where it's the right fit for them is the most important thing. And I don't care what sport it is, what level. A lot of people, disregard. I mean, when I was at Cortland State in Division III, I had Alex Steele from Old Tappan, New Jersey, playing for me, and he was like a 5th-round draft choice. He was one of the most talented players I've ever had in my life. If that kid came out of high school now, he'd be going to LSU. And he wanted to go play for me, and he wanted to, it just worked out. So there's great players at Division III schools, and there's great players at junior college, and there's great players in Division I schools and Division II schools. Just get the right school, because you only play for so long, and then you have to make a living and support your family and do different things with for the rest of your life. And so being miserable and sitting on someone's bench because you thought that was the best place to go is not necessarily the right thing. So I would say that's the most important thing. If I was a parent, going through the whole thing again, I mean, I was fortunate enough to have a couple of my children play for me, and but that's an important thing is finding the right place. Don't worry about the level. Don't worry about the level. Worry about it being the right place.
Oh, hey, we're gonna end on that, Coach. I love it. Listen, find the right place. No, find the right level. No, say it one more time, because I'm sorry, Lord, I gotta fight that down. Find the right place, not the right level.
The level does not matter. You find a place where because you can be a junior college player, a Division III player, a Division II player, a Division I player, and be a professional player and play in the major leagues. But just find a place that's the right fit for you, and you're needed, you're wanted, you're going to be coached and developed and pushed. You're going to be around similar kids that have similar goals and aspirations, so it's a comfortable atmosphere. You're not overwhelmed and you're not underwhelmed. You got to be challenged, but have room to grow. It's really hard for people to understand that, and that's the most important advice that I would give parents is find the right place, because that's what's going to be the quality that your kids will enjoy for the time that they're in college, is their experience. I could have played at different places probably coming out of high school now. I went to a Division III place so I could play 2 sports, and I loved it. I didn't care if I was Division III or I was Division, it didn't matter what division I was. I played and I enjoyed it and I worked hard at it and I loved it, and I got to play 2 sports. So that was the right thing for me, and I got to play for great coaches. People are worried about the wrong thing, worry about the right thing. Good education, opportunity to play and have an impact on the program, and you can afford it without putting yourself in debt and making stupid decisions.
I ain't got to say no more. All right, amen to that, man. That's the quote of the week right there. So, Coach, again, I'm gonna, let you get out, of here, man. I appreciate your time, man. We are definitely going to be in contact, just like I told Brandon over there. Listen, it's been a pleasure, man. Parents listening in, before I get you out of here, Coach, parents listening in, we're going to finish the week strong. Started off a little shaky with the internet and craziness, the Sacred Heart, head coach, but we finishing strong. Just like, today was a great day. Yesterday was awesome. Tomorrow we have Jason King from University of Dayton coming on tomorrow. All right, so staying up north, going out a little bit over to the Midwest, a little bit over there, Ohio. But listen, man, we keeping this ball rolling, man. So, Coach, appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man. And man, I know you're gonna be successful, man. I feel it. I said it when Brandon was on the phone, man. I mean, on the line, and I love it, man. And you guys got a lot of good stuff going on, man. I gotta make my way up there to Rutgers, man, and see it firsthand, man. But I appreciate the time, brother.
You're always welcome. Thank you.
All right, parents. It's 4 p.m. tomorrow. Jason King, Dayton. All right. I will see you guys. You guys take care. Love you guys. 4 p.m. tomorrow. As a matter of fact, tonight I will have a live with Vic Radcliffe. We are talking about Perfect Game and the rankings and how much does it help and all of that. His son got drafted this past year. I thought it'd be great information for you guys. So tonight at 8 p.m. we having another live. I'm doing double duty today, and we're going to talk about the beauty of Perfect Game. All right, and does the rankings matter when it comes to college coaches? Should have asked that on here, but it is what it is. All right, but I'm trying to sneak in a college coach in an interview tonight. We'll see. All right, it is tonight at 8 p.m. Join me on the same channels that you see me on here, and we'll talk about the the Perfect Game rankings. How does it work when it comes to college coaching and rankings? Does it matter when it comes to the recruiting aspect of it? All right. Those some of the subjects that were being brought up in different groups, and I wanted to get that information out there. And I'm getting one of my boys that his son just went through it, and I think it'd be great advice. All right, so 8 p.m. Does Perfect Game rankings really matter in this day and age right now? All right, when it comes to recruiting, peace and love. It is what it is. Let me see. I got some questions coming on. Let me see. Am I broadcasting? You broadcasting? I will be on there. Yeah. I don't know. Broadcasting, I guess. Yeah. I'm just emceeing it and having a good conversation. All right. So I'll see you on there. D, show the video of you training the Piscataway kids. D, show him the video of you training the Piscataway kids. Okay. All right. I will. All right. And then we go from there. All right. I will see you guys. Listen to you tonight, D. I will be on there, J Maya. Especially for young kids. We're talking high school, but if you got middle school kids, middle age school, and you getting ready for that showcase level, high level, and you want that information, make sure you're on there tonight, okay? I think it'd be great information for you. All right. Does it really matter, the Perfect Game, when it comes to rankings, when it comes to college coaches and recruiting? All right. We'll be on there tonight. See you tonight, 8 p.m. Peace and love, y'all.